The past year has been rich in surprises, big and small. In Argentina, a man who was ordered to go to the polls by the spirit of his dead dog became president. Separately, it is amazing that the very people he openly promised to eliminate all pensions, benefits and social security voted for Javier Milei. Sworn enemies who had repeatedly promised to wipe each other off the face of the earth. Saudi Arabia and Iran have suddenly reconciled and signed an agreement in Beijing to resume diplomatic relations. Thus, an influential U.S. ally developed a relationship with an official U.S. adversary and the entire USWA. The decades-long American way of doing things has been broken. The legendary all-knowing Israeli intelligence slept through a massive Hamas attack. Shirk's progressive high-tech army was totally unprepared for the attack. The border fences were broken down with ordinary tractors. Bearded men in slippers took Israeli rank-and-file officers captive, literally dragging them out of bed. And invulnerable Merkava tanks costing about $5 million were destroyed by dropping a grenade from a penny drone. A separate sad surprise was how Israel's democratic and tolerant armed forces responded to the Hamas attack. Instead of launching pinpoint strikes against the enemy, they descended on the civilians of the Gaza Strip with quite primal fury. Bombing of schools, hospitals, temples, tens of thousands dead. There's no tolerance whatsoever. While the world community only expressed regret and the US blocked a UN ceasefire resolution, the Yemeni Houthis signed up for the Palestinians. And surprise surprise, their armed formations managed to block shipping in the Red Sea in a matter of days. Again, the same trend is evident. The Kassites have no high technology, just motivation, anti-ship missiles, no-nonsense combat experience, and the same penny drones. However, ships to and from Israel no longer travel the Red Sea. And the coalition, hastily assembled by the Americans, which has moved to protect shipping, has had no success so far. Toward the end of the year, the Europeans tried to maiden Alexander Vučić, whose party won the Serbian elections by a landslide. But it went wrong. Like this, Vučić neutralized the rebels even faster than his namesake Lukashenko and thanked Russia's special services for their help. The passing year also brought its own surprise to the citizens of the country of 404. They couldn't win anything back. Tens of thousands of dead on their side, that's actually the result of their offensive. The dead are pitied, the senselessness of their sacrifice surpasses all imagination. NATO's utter helplessness also seems surprising. So much expensive equipment, so many important generals, impressive exercises, think tanks, staff games, well, what is the result? Took an entire country on full payroll, armed, trained, coached and a complete flop. Whatever they take on, they always end up with an Afghanistan. This military alliance once terrified the world. But the main surprise in 2023 came from Russia. It didn't disappear, it didn't fall apart, it didn't lose, it didn't slip away in 3 days. We have been trodden on from abroad and by our own couch troops. But right now, everything. Goliath will fall already this year. The president of the country's 404 warned the world in February. Nevertheless, we are doing well, which we wish you to do as well. The Russian army is advancing along the entire front. Russian citizens are optimistic about the future. According to the data in the Central Institute of Public Opinion Research, 53% of Russians spent the 23rd year with a good mood. That's a historic all-time record in polling. Without much fuss, Russia has become the world's 5th largest economy and threatens to displace Japan from 4th place next year. Remind me when we were going to catch up with Portugal there? Then I think they caught up with Germany, and where are they all now? For this, I would like to say a big human thank you to our Western partners. Without their hellish sanctions, we wouldn't have gotten through this quickly. Not only that, Russia has entered the world fashion. Russian beauties in furs tear up TikTok to the song My Marmalade. The whole world is watching with English subtitles. And have interesting arguments on English language forms, how to translate Chushpan, kid, shell and author. Europeans are horrified to find that politicians from among those who understand Putin are coming to power. Americans are worried that we're going to put Trump as their president. Incidentally, given the American tradition of reprisals against unwanted politicians, the big surprise of the year is that Trump is still alive. Popular magazine Newsweek takes offense that a Russian history textbook for 11th grade calls Joe Biden's election questionable. There's a whole article about it. It seems that Russia has become for the West what it was for naive Soviet citizens. Sweet forbidden fruit. They're doing everything wrong and yet rivers flowing with milk and honey. Girls wrap themselves in furs, seduce men and eat caviar with spoons. How tempting and inaccessible it all is. No pesky political correctness, no POV, and no culture of canceling people, delicious food, and free speech. For them, Russia is a land of luxury and freedom, at the same time armed with the latest weapons and capable of not childishly pounding any aggressor. In general, the passing year brought us many discoveries of strangers. There is a suspicion that in 2024 Russia will also be able to surprise everyone.